Do we know if the guy here or not? I heard there was a rumor. Oh, all right.
Yeah, the person and so Travis went to jail before, and then the two boys let me go first. And I said, oh. And then I was the last one out. He's gonna arrest me now. And I ran over to yeah.
Number does my fax count?
Oh, it's your fact.
So, yep, yours doesn't count. So I got your original now. What?
You're number 5.
Do you want to speak on the regular or the public hearing?
Who's your cousin?
I don't know. I just say I want to make
So I just one day when I find dimes over here,
I know it. No, I did.
so I was gonna do it last time over here. So but I didn't know that this is last.
I'll grab it. You should know that was your
Should be.
relative until you.
It's fine with them.
I thought you asked. Well, maybe I did. Yeah. Because I have the.
He's here
April election.
recently.
What's our organization up north?
The whole.
Their names were when I walked.
You know something that I don't? Oh, okay.
I was hoping to actually get the goal.
Damn right.
So do you think you know that? Here at 6, I'll Jason start the meeting.
It's not bad. I haven't plugged this in.
I just thought it
Says I didn't have it.
Just holler that out. That'll help.
I'll do it anytime you want. As long as I can get the second.
Did you hear
Yes, we all.
You're getting rain over here later today, Bob? More than just a few drops.
Yeah, that's
Have you listened to the news?
It's bad enough.
Thursday I have a meeting here.
My first.
They said it was on the highway.
I don't look at the county email.
Beautiful. Somebody called me this morning and then my hands right.
This time of year. I did too. Yeah, now we need more. Enjoy them.
I don't care. Easier when I'm loading up all of her apparatus. Last night I cooked there for supper.
Last week you went that short.
It's not here at the.
And I don't answer.
All right. Here he comes. A rock meeting.
I was glad to
I was out shoveling, cleaning out.
Afternoon.
Good, how are you?
To check.
Good?
She kind of hates
Was it warmer down there than it was up here?
Doing well, and yourself?
on my.
Yeah. I had 6 in my car.
It's a lot easier.
Somebody saying we're done?
Then I can dismiss the meeting during Christmas. Go home.
Yeah, I did a car wash today too, because I couldn't sleep. Yeah.
Too bad.
Good.
How about you?
Good. Better when it warmed up a little bit.
Yeah, right. I didn't go outside.
Hey,
20 minutes. Time.
let's see.
Supposed to rain Thursday.
Time.
Rain.
Hey,
It was canceled.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It might raining before it's cold enough to snow. I'm off. Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
What am I going out after?
I never liked
Yeah, me either.
My wife is like,
never
saying
had.
mine.
I like it.
I don't like it. I don't want
And
somebody
then it's
like
gonna rain on top of it.
I've been here for an hour. I give
Yeah.
Huh? Yep.
First
She
time.
said yes. As long as
In a meeting, nobody else watches.
in case you have time.
Right.
That's glare ice.
So just know too, now you could not sign. But it's in April.
Well, I have 6 o'clock now. I would like to call the December 16th meeting of the county board to order. Please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. So the roll call shows that we have 20 supervisors present, so we do have a quorum. Item 4 would be approval of the agenda.
Bomar moves.
Lot seconds.
Okay. Any questions, discussion, comments? Okay, then we will call the vote to approve the agenda.
Pete, I did once. Do it again. Do it again. There you go.
Vote early and often.
No.
Okay, thank you. The agenda is approved. Item 5, members of the public wishing to be heard. First is Paul Kromenaar.
I was here last week, but none of you showed up. But it got me out of a card game that I was losing. So, no, I just wanted to thank all of you. We closed up the ATV trail Monday before the gun and deer season, and we had a real successful year, and appreciate all your support. And one thing, talking about the ATV trail, it's on the county forest. I don't know how many of you has ever visited that county forest, but you really should. I mean, it is something to see. And every time I'm there, I run into someone from outside the area. Last time I was Janesville, once it was Wyoming. It's unbelievable where these people are coming from to enjoy our county forest. And something we really have to pat ourselves on the back to have something like that. So thank you again.
Thank you. Tom Webb, please.
Good evening, folks. Again, my name is Tom Webb, and I work for Congressman Derek Van Orden, in our 3rd Congressional District here. Just wanted to come up and on behalf of the congressman and our staff, thank everybody for all the hard work you go through. I just got involved in politics 3 years ago, and I'm constituent services, so I'm not really a politician, but I never realized how much work or how much goes into city government and county government and state and federal. So from the congressman and our staff, thank you very much for your work. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for stepping up as well. So item 6 would be the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Later, so moves.
Goodman, a second.
Any comments, questions on the consent agenda, on the items there? If not, then we'll call the vote to approve the consent agenda. Okay. Consent agenda is approved unanimously. Item 7, public hearing. It just says open public hearing.
Yep.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. I should have at least a title or a... We will be informed what the public hearings about.
Good evening. I'm Rochelle Rizzo, the Executive Director of the Chippewa County Housing Authority. Tonight's public hearing is regarding the Community Development Block Grant Program, also known as CDBG. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to inform the public of the opportunity of Chippewa County to apply for funds through the 2026 CDBG Small Cities Housing Program and gain input from the public on the needs of the West Central Wisconsin housing region and the proposed activities, as well as report on the progress of the current 2024 Regional CDBG Housing Grant and gain input from the public on that progress. The state of Wisconsin is accepting applications for the Regional CDBG Housing Program. Chippewa County is eligible to apply as the lead county for the West Central Wisconsin housing region. There is an estimated $20 million in the 2026 competition to be divided among the 7 regions. This is based on a fair share allocation, considering historical use of funds and availability of program income in the region. The application deadline was December 9th of 2025. However, we have received a 1-week extension from the state, so the new deadline is tomorrow, December 17th. CDBG funds are federal funds that are passed through the state of Wisconsin to small municipalities, and eligible CDBG activities consist of housing, planning, economic development, public facilities for economic development, and closed and former revolving loan funds. This public hearing is to discuss the housing programs. The programs that are covered by the CDBG housing program include housing rehabilitation, home buyer assistance, and special housing projects such as acquisition, demolition, and relocation as needed. Emergency assistance programs as needed. Emergency assistance funds are available to a community when a disaster occurs. Municipalities must submit an application in coordination with the lead regional county. If awarded, funds are available to assist victims of the date specific to the disaster. We work closely with local and state emergency government and often coordinated with FEMA mitigation grants. CDBG housing programs do have income limits for participants. Households must have income at or below 80% of the county median income. Housing rehabilitation are deferred payment loans at 0% interest for necessary repairs and accessibility improvements. Lead hazard remediation is granted when the project is completed, and funds can be used for acquisition, demolition, reconstruction, including displacement and relocation as needed. Home buyer assistance, deferred payment loans are also 0% interest. We can offer down payment assistance up to 10% of the purchase price. For the down payment assistance funds, it is required that the home buyer match those funds. And it also is required for the home buyer to complete a HUD-approved home buyer education program. Emergency assistance funds are grants to low to moderate income households. Funds are limited to necessary repairs stemming from the disaster. Funds can be used for acquisition and demolition if needed, and funds can also be used for housing replacement if a repair of home would exceed 50% of the fair market value before the event. This slide shows the funding we have received over the years. So in 2012, we received $3.9 million. In 2014, we received $2.2 million. In 2016, we received $398,000 of emergency assistance. In 2018, we received a little over $4 million between housing and emergency assistance. In 2020, we received a little over $3 million between housing and emergency assistance. And in 2022, we received $2.5 million. And in 2024, for our current grant period, we've received $2.5 million for housing, $2.5 million for the Indian Head Motel conversion, and $1.1 million for manufactured housing communities. In the past, non-entitlement municipalities applied for funding known as small city revolving loan funds directly from the Wisconsin Department of Administration, Division of Housing, Energy, and Community Resources, also known as DOA Decker. In 2012, Decker began distributing funding on a regional level. To qualify, you must have a lead county, and the region must consist of at least 9 counties. In 2025, Decker discontinued small city revolving loan funds. Regional funding will be the only funding option as of September 30th of 2025. All small city revolving loan funds will need to be returned to Decker by April 15th of 2026. Chippewa County agreed to be the lead county for the West Central Wisconsin housing region, consisting of 10 counties. The lead county serves as the applicant on behalf of the region. Funds are typically made available every other year. The West Central, there's 7 regions within the state of Wisconsin. The West Central region is yellow on this slide. And the counties included in the West Central region are Barron, Buffalo, Chippewa, excluding the city of Eau Claire, Clark, Dunn, Eau Claire, excluding the city of Eau Claire, Pepin, Pierce, Polk, and St. Croix. Identifiable home repair housing needs in West Central Wisconsin include cost of materials and contracted services continue to increase. Shortage of contractors in our region drives up the cost of labor. Poverty rates in the United Way Alice report indicate that many homeowners will have difficulty paying for home maintenance. Due to economic limitations, homeowners put off necessary repairs, compromising the condition of their homes and compounding the scope of the repair and the cost. In some instances, homes require demolition and reconstruction or replacement housing, which includes relocation and displacement. There are currently 134 applicants on the waiting list for the regional CDBG home repair program, which shows the increasing demand. Program beneficiaries regularly report that they could not have afforded the repairs without this program. Identifiable home buyer assistance housing needs include home prices and values are increasing. Median value of housing in our region is $182,100, which ranges from $134,400 in Clark County to $282,100 in St. Croix County, according to the 2017-2021 census data. And as we all know, this has continued to rise closer to $300,000. Low to moderate income households find it difficult to purchase housing and keep mortgage affordable. Low to moderate income home buyers need down payment assistance to make their mortgage payments affordable. The homes that low to moderate income buyers can afford are often in need of repairs. The home buyer program can provide home repair funds after the purchase is complete. Activities proposed in the 2026 CDBG application include owner-occupied rehabilitation funds. There are waiting lists for owner-occupied repairs. These rehabilitation funds include demolition, reconstruction, or replacement housing, and relocation for displaced families as needed. Homebuyer assistance funds, we continue to see a steady request for assistance. These loans are smaller because beneficiaries do have to match those funds. For acquisition and rehabilitation, we want to continue to improve housing stock to be sold to low to moderate income home buyers. This includes demolition, reconstruction, or replacement housing if needed. I would like to take this time to identify housing and community development needs from the public. Hearing done, we'll move on to the progress of the 2024 Regional CDBG Grant. The 2024 CDBG Housing Grant was awarded on February 26th of 2024. The West Central region received a total of $5,133,141 between housing, the Indian Head Motel conversion, and manufactured home communities. Since February 1st of 2025, we have obligated $4,162,205 and $208,935 in lead hazard remediation grants. We have provided 18 loans to date, with 41% being a female head of household, and 41% elderly, and 29% physical disability. To date, the average loan amount is $45,356. At this time, I will ask for citizen input regarding the proposed application and progress on the current grant. Hearing none, I will now ask to close the public hearing.
Okay, I will declare the public hearing closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move on to reports. County Administrator review and update. Okay. Monthly statements of claims filed.
There were no new claims filed since the last meeting.
Good news. Financial update for the third quarter. Leah?
All right. So here we have the 2025 pre-audited financial report, and this is for expenses and revenues from January through the end of September. Those are definitions that we'll leave in there for presentation purposes. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. So here's where we will look at revenues that are under 75%. Or expenses that are over 75%. The revenues that are under are going to be in this collected column, so that's where I'm looking at, under 75. And then the over expenses will be in that spent column. So as you can see, the county board is at 79.2% for expenses, and that's because the annual contract expenses are paid out at the beginning of the year. And then we have the general county, and you'll see that revenue is under. That's because of the state shared revenue funds that we receive, and we get those in the fourth quarter, and we did get them in November. And those were, we just received those, and that's about just over $2.8 million. So that will be back in line. The next department is the county clerk. And you can see expenses are at 92.5%. And that's because of the library expenses are paid out at the beginning of the year on that one. So that's a big chunk of that budget. Just something to point out, not highlighted, but the treasurer, right in there, you'll see is at 393%. So over your 75, but that's due to the interest rates that we're receiving right now. Through the end of September, that we were getting interest of 4.35% on all of our funds that are stored in our state investment pool. And then child support, you'll see those are under in revenue. And that's because the quarterly, they receive those funds quarterly. So we haven't received those yet in September. They think they get them in October. It's kind of an office cycle. But I did look at the past years, and they are in line in where they were last year at this time. Next, we have land conservation and forest management. And you can see those expenses are low. The revenues are also under, but the expenses are, excuse me, the revenues are under. And that's because they put in for expenses, and then they get reimbursed after the fact through grants and other mechanisms. So they did finish up their expenses for the year and submitted for reimbursements. So they should be fine by the end of the year. And same with planning and zoning. They have also submitted for reimbursements for all of their expenses for the year. And they actually may have received most of theirs already. And this is just a recap of the previous slide. And then we have the special revenue fund. So for public health, ADRC, and human services, they do receive their revenues 1 month after the fact. So they'll do all of their expenses and then submit for reimbursement. So they'll receive those revenues a month later. So those are a little under. And then for Recovery Wellness Consortium, they're about a 2 to 3 month lag in receiving their Medicaid dollars due to billing in, making sure everything is in line. So they're a little under. And then I did look back in prior years for these departments, and they are all in line from where they were in prior years. So they're expected to be fine by the end of the year. And then we have the Housing CDBG Revolving Loans Fund. And as Rochelle had stated, there's the county, the Chippewa counties, and then we also have the regional in there. So the revenues for them are a little bit under, and those revenues do fluctuate due to we only getting reimbursed for those loans that go out when a house is sold or refinanced, or if an occupant passes away. And the expenses you'll see are for the home repairs that they've had for this year. And they will be in line by the end of the year. They do have some fund balance and everything in there that they can use. And then the Chippewa County portion of that, like Rochelle had stated earlier, those funds will be returned to the state by April of next year. And then we have the jail assessment. And those revenues are behind. We don't really have control over those fees that we collect from the state. So those are a little bit behind for the year. And then we have land records. They're under in revenues, but they don't have any expenses, so they're okay. And then this is just a recap of that previous slide. And then we have the sales tax. There is a 2-month lag on receiving our sales tax revenue. So we have received July's revenue through September. So we are a little bit higher than we were last year, so that's good. I think we're sitting at 4.77% higher than we were last year at this point. And then you'll see the expenses are at 100%, and the sales tax is allocated out to all of the departments as approved in the KIP at the beginning of the year. And then we have the opioid abatement account, and here you can see those are the revenues we have received to date, and then the expenses that were approved, similar to the KIP fund. The KIP dollars, those are approved in that same fashion. Okay. And then we have debt service. This slide has not changed at all. The debt payments, I believe, are all done for the year. And then, so you see it by the end of 2025, we are, we'll have a debt of 8.5 million. And then we have the capital projects fund, and this is for the bonding that was taken out in 2024. So this is half of that 3.5 million that we received, and the expenses are all there. And these funds will be used in 25 and 26. And then the revenue for this year is all interest income. Then we have the internal services fund, and this is where we have our health insurance fund. You can see the revenues are on track, so we're good there, but the expenses are over. We've talked about health insurance and the high costs we've had with that. So we are a little bit high. October was pretty good. September was good, but November and December tend to be a little bit higher for our claims. So I'm hoping that we are less than what we have been in the past for November and December, so that we kind of end up a little bit better. We are doing better than last year. Not a ton, but is a little bit better than we were last year. So we are trying to make improvements on that, you know. Then we have the self-funded liability insurance. You say they only have revenues of 0.9%. And that is because we do an insurance allocation once a year in November, so that entry has been done. So next time we report, you will see that there have been revenues allocated to this department. And then the expenses for this, the premiums are all paid out at the beginning of the year on that one. And then we have the enterprise and trust and agency funds. Here we have the land development. I haven't sold any properties as of September 30th. So you don't have any revenues coming in there, and the expenses are for the potential new business park and then what we have paid to the Chippewa County Economic Development per our contract. And then the dog license fund, that's just normal activity on that. And that is all I have. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Leah?
Right.
Well, you've been thorough. No questions.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Yeah.
We have no general reports, so we'll move on to item 9, business items. Resolution 37-25, resolution authorizing submission of the application for community development block grant funds on behalf of the West Central Wisconsin Housing Region.
Resolution 37-25, resolution authorizing submission of the application for community development block grant funds on behalf of the West Central Wisconsin Housing Region. Now therefore be it resolved that the County Board of Chippewa County does hereby approve and authorize the preparation and filing of an application for CDBG funds for the above projects, and be it further resolved that the County Board Chair is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents on behalf of Chippewa County as the lead county for the West Central Wisconsin Housing Region, and be it further resolved that authority is hereby granted to Program Administrator Rochelle Rizzo and the Chippewa County Housing Authority to take the necessary steps to prepare and file the appropriate application for funds under this program in accordance with this resolution, forwarded to the County Board by the Executive Committee.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Supervisor Gearing makes motion.
Watts will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any questions or comments? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, and I will call the vote to approve Resolution 37-25 in a moment. Thank you.
Supervisor Hennig.
There we go.
There you go. Hit it before.
Yeah. The resolution is approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 2, Resolution 38-25, resolution to approve the 2026 work plan of the Forest and Trails Division of the Department of Land Conservation and Forest Management, and to authorize the county forest administrator to apply for a county forest administration grant from the State of Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Resolution 38-25, resolution to approve the 2026 work plan of the Forest and Trails Division of the Department of Land Conservation and Forest Management, and to authorize the county forest administrator to apply for a county forest administration grant from the State of Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Now therefore be it resolved that the Chippewa County Board of Supervisors does hereby approve the attached 2026 annual work plan of the Forest and Trails Division of the Department of Land Conservation and Forest Management. And be it further resolved that pursuant to Statute 28.11 Wisconsin statutes, the county forest administrator is hereby authorized and directed to complete and submit required application materials for the aforementioned county forest administration grant in the amount of approximately $61,933 to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, forwarded to the county board by the Land Conservation and Forest Management Committee.
Planner so moves. Bowler seconds.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 38-25. Any discussion, questions, clarification needed?
It's mostly the same work we do every year. We cut about 800 acres a year in the county forest. We manage 35,000 acres. The only thing of note in this year's plan that I would bring to your attention is that we did receive a grant from the DNR to improve the Hickory Ridge trailhead to build a maintenance shed and a warming shelter out there. They improved their parking lot area a couple of years ago under a different grant, but our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan was out of date. We updated that, got this current grant, hoping to move forward with that.
Any more questions? Having skied the trail to Hickory Ridge, that'll be welcome. Very welcome. Thank you.
They've been asking for it for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, then I will call the vote for Resolution 38-25.
Thank you.
Okay, the resolution is approved unanimously. Thank you. Resolution 39-25, resolution authorizing the creation of an ad hoc emergency medical services EMS committee to study EMS services in Chippewa County.
Resolution 39-25, resolution authorizing the creation of an ad hoc emergency medical services committee to study EMS services in Chippewa County, read by title only.
I will entertain a motion to approve.
Planner moves.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Bergeron seconds.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Clarification?
Question.
Yes.
And I brought this up at the executive, because I remember that ad hoc. Does that allow me to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, and we'll call the vote. Okay, the resolution is approved unanimously. Item 4, policy revisions for use of fund balance and non-lapsing accounts. First reading. present it.
Yep. So during the course of preparing the 2026 budget, one of the things we meet with the departments and review their budgets, as well as we reviewed the non-lapsing funds and identified a couple updates that we're proposing to the policy. The first is that establishing a new non-lapsing fund for the county clerk for elections. As it states, election cycles are not consistent. Some years we have multiple primaries, multiple general elections. Some years we have just a couple. There's a lot of expense with the clerk's office. This will help us establish a fund balance so that in years where there's a lot of elections, we maybe have some in the fund balance that we can pull out. And in years where, because we're trying to keep the budget relatively consistent year to year, what we have budget for expenses, the clerk will be able to put money in the fund in years where there's not as much election activity. And then for public health, there is existing a non-lapsing fund of $200,000 for their activities. It's a two-part issue. One is that part of that fund balance is the fees for the food safety and recreational licensing program, which we act as the agent of the state. Those funds that we bring in through that program have to be segregated and used for only that program. And we're building up some funds there. Eventually, those funds will be worked down as we end up spending updates for our program, lab, and also be sending, as the more years we're in that program, we start to send more money back to the state. So we want to separate out the fund and establish a separate fund just for the food safety and recreational licensing, but maintain the other public health fund that's already there, that we're able to put unused funds from WIC, Farmers Market Nutrition Program, family planning into that fund. Especially important here is we're moving in the next couple of years where we anticipate funds for those programs to go down. We want to be able to have some on-hand funds to probably wind down those programs as the funding goes away. And then finally, in reviewing the fund balance policy, we found a couple funds that are no longer needed. The rifle range, as we don't have that in operation or under ownership, and the MFR recycling program, which that program is not in existence either anymore. So those will be eliminated with the policy change.
Any questions? Again, we're not voting at this time, but we'll entertain some questions. Yes.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. I think when we're talking about public health and recognizing that as those funds diminish and as we're looking at the costs of healthcare, just understand that when prevention goes away, your costs for medical treatment at the tertiary and acute care will rise. So I just want to make a statement for people to really recognize and understand. There's tons of research that shows that every time that you invest in in prevention, you usually return those costs multiple times over. So I fear for, as things, as we move away from some of the funds that public health has had, that we potentially are going to see additional costs. And I think we've all felt that pinch a lot here in this western region, given what's happened with the loss of HSHS and all of those things. So just a generalized comment. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Supervisor Hannick.
This piggybacks on Pam's statement and has to do with the new hospital who is going to be approaching us for some money. To the best of my knowledge, they haven't even considered anything in contacting or working with public health in our department in solving and going forward into us signing a large loan. And public health is like the go-to place for prevention, as Pam said. And we're not hearing anything about this new hospital working with our public health. They're kind of like the subject matter experts. I think it's good business that we look into that a little bit before we make a decision going forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you then. So we have no county board chair appointments, no administrator appointments, and agenda items for future consideration. Let us know about that. And before we conclude, I'd just like to remind everyone, if your declaration of candidacy or your declaration of non-candidacy, it would be convenient if the clerk had those earlier. Because if you have either one of them, I think legally you cannot have your declaration of candidacy in until January, but the clerk probably has to stick around on December 26th to see if anybody turns in one. And that, the non-candidacy. You know, so if you turn it in, it would be useful to have that in by then. And then good luck on getting your signatures, get them in, remember that. And then also I just would like to make sure wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and be safe and enjoy your family and everything. On to last item.
Erickson will make a motion to adjourn.
20 seconds.
I would say we are adjourned. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yep.
I know you're. I'm out.